Boom, ba 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 dum, ba 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 fa ba 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 ba.
Breaking news. 50 kilograms of cocaine was found at a local Nespresso factory, and Lincoln Riley's a dirty cheater. Find out more on this episode of the Sooner the Better podcast.
Ba ba ba.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Backs up one way, just lays out right over the block.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome.
Episode 14 of
to the Sooner the Better podcast.
Welcome. So, this is going to be an interesting episode. It's Mother's Day. First of all,
Happy Mother's
Day
to
all
all
of
you
the-
mothers, all the mother,
all of your mothers, all
my
the mothers
mothers,
out there.
our
My mother.
mother.
Yeah, we got a couple mothers here. We got our mom here, as well as our grandma. So back at my house again. The set keeps changing. I kind of like it this way. Different place every week.
Yeah, it adds some variety, a little spice. Variety is the spice of life, they say.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah. The seasoning, if you will.
Yeah, and you got to have some seasoning.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just, sometimes just salt and pepper works, but
You
like
know, white people get a bad rap. For,
sometimes we like a little, maybe some Tony Chachere's. I use that shit on everything.
Chachere's.
Little
Little
onion
cayenne
powder,
pepper.
cayenne pepper, maybe some garlic powder, some rosemary, a little thyme. What the fuck are we talking about?
All right. Well, that was a tangent. Anyway, this one's going to be like a challenging episode because there's not a lot of OU stuff to talk about.
No.
So, but it
Shout
kind of works out.
We'll shout out. Go ahead, the OU girls softball.
OU girls, obviously, they won the Big 12 regular season. So
Good luck.
we knew they
going
would.
forward.
But yeah, not a whole lot of OU stuff to talk about. It kind of works out because I think the plan was always to obviously like our main focus is OU football when there's stuff going on.
But then
like,
diverge out because we're eclectic people. We
Yeah.
like a variety
I watch
of
all
different
sports.
sports.
Watch
So
all sports.
why not talk
You know,
about
right
it?
now, I got hockey
Yeah.
postseason, NBA postseason,
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff going on that's I would say more important than
And we
OU
know-
summer football.
And we know equally as little about all those, so it works
I would-
out. So we can
I
just kind
wouldn't
of
say
talk
that.
shit.
I'd say I know quite a bit about.
I don't know
sports.
shit about
The only
hockey.
thing about football is I never played. Right? I mean, I have a higher understanding than most casual watchers of the sport, obviously, because I can sit here and talk about it intellectually, but I never played. That's my only pitfall.
I did play. One season.
I think
one
saying
season in junior
played
high.
is a bit of a stretch there. That might
One
be a bit
season
of a
in
stretch.
junior high. I started.
But anyway,
starting.
So yeah,
starting free
we're
safety.
gonna start branching out, making this more of a well-rounded sports podcast, covering a little bit of everything, because that was always the goal. I think just using OU football as the
bedrock.
jumping board, the trampoline, if you will. But anyway,
Let's get into it.
starting with new business as always. This first thing does kind of involve OU a little bit. Lincoln Riley got caught red fucking handed.
Yeah.
Just straight up cheating. So obviously, you're not supposed to be able to recruit players into the portal. It's against the
Right.
rules. Unless a player's already in the portal, you're not
Then
supposed to have any
then you can
contact
talk
with
to
them.
them. Before
whatsoever.
that, no go.
Lincoln Riley been on the phone with Jordan Addison, the Blitnikoff winner from Pitt, and Xavier Worthy from Texas, who's the guy that scored the first snap touchdown against us in the Texas game, and was trying to recruit them to USC. And then Jordan Addison actually entered the portal. So like the reason I wanted to talk about this is because like this is legitimately, according to the NCAA bylaws, this is cheating.
Yeah.
So should he transfer to USC, this should be punishable. But I feel like so many people are so quick to just like laugh it off and like blow it off like it's not a big deal. But like
The
it's a
thing
huge
is,
deal.
the NCAA is so weak right now. There's not really any enforcement for anything. I mean, when was the last time that like a major punishment was dealt out in the NCAA?
I think the NCAA is kind of like the mafia is now. You know, like they used to be like, you didn't
fuck with
you
them.
didn't fuck with the mafia.
But
Like, if you
we're-
owed the mafia money, you paid the mafia your money. But now
We're a long ways away from the SMU death penalty era, where like there were actually consequences. Now there's
but,
no
like,
consequences.
Legitimately speaking, like what is an adequate punishment for something like this? Because like we're living, especially with how big of a hypocrite he is, because he always used to bitch and moan about the way other schools recruited. So like, what does a legitimate punishment look like for something like this? Should he transfer? Like he shouldn't be able to. He shouldn't get immediate eligibility. Number one, if he transfers to USC. Number two, the program itself should have to suffer some kind of consequences.
There should be and I don't think a fine works, because I mean these schools that are doing it, they have so much money that if you fine them $25,000,
Yeah,
they're
no,
like,
it's gotta
oh,
be-
okay, we'll just add that into the kid's NIL package, like that $25,000 fine, whatever. It needs to be something severe enough to where it's like, okay, if they really want to reel this in, because it's kind of the NIL transfer portal, all of that kind of together opened up this Pandora's box, and right now it's a little bit of the wild, wild west, and they're going to have to do something somewhat drastic in order to rein the programs back in. I think they need, probably a change of leadership.
I think after the first violation, for every violation after that, the head coach should lose a digit on his pinky.
Okay.
And then it keeps going finger by finger. That's how the Yakuza do it, and they seem to have a lot of success with that and enforcing their rules. And I wouldn't be mad to see Lincoln Riley have to lose a little bit of his finger. So this is technically 2 violations, so I think
A whole
he
pinky.
should. The first one's the warning, but because he committed the second one,
So the
you
tip.
just the tip of his pinky,
Yeah.
right? Because that's going to make it harder to hold his little 3x8 card that he writes every single one of his plays on, and then like his little wave that he does. God, I fucking hated that shit. So anyway, long story short, that segment's really just I think we need to start getting more medieval about how we punish people for breaking the rules these days.
Yeah.
Tired of all this soft slap on the wrist shit.
Hard on crime.
You need to start losing fucking appendages, in my opinion. Well, this is not a similar topic, but looking over at Texas, their running back Bijan Robinson just signed an NIL deal with Lamborghini. This is the first NIL deal I've seen with a brand that is this.
So it wasn't
Luxurious?
it wasn't with Lamborghini. It was with the Lamborghini of Austin dealership.
Right.
So
It was it was similar to deals that we've seen
with
in
like the one that
Oklahoma.
Spencer Rattler had,
Yeah,
but it was
we
like
Norman doesn't have
a Lamborghini dealership.
But it also begs the question: why the fuck does Austin have a Lamborghini dealership?
bro, tech money. There's so much tech money down there.
I've been to Austin quite a few times. I don't know that I've ever seen a Lamborghini or even anything in a Lamborghini category.
There's so much tech money up there, but it is gonna start to. And this was something that I talked about a while ago. Is Norman going to be able to compete when it comes to some of these brand deals? Right? We don't have necessarily. Norman doesn't necessarily have the connections that you're gonna get out in like a Miami. Like minus, I know we've talked about like the party scene, and like you don't necessarily want guys that want to go to Miami because South Beach is there, but maybe there are guys that want to go to Miami because they might get a sponsorship from Gucci of Miami. They might get a sponsorship of Lamborghini, Bentley, Rolls
Yeah.
Royce.
See-
you don't have those. You don't have those opportunities in Norman.
I think the calling of more money over like what types of endorsement deals you can get honestly speaks louder. And I don't. This is gonna sound weird, but I feel like rural Oklahoma like has a lot of old money. You know what I mean? It's like older industries, like you were talking about. Like Austin's got the tech scene, and like
Yeah, I
obviously
mean,
it's
there's a lot of
more
oil,
urban environment.
a lot of oil and gas around Oklahoma City.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still a lot of money to be made in the Oklahoma. And the thing is, like, dude, we live in a digital age. Like, the only markets you can tap into, just because you're just in Norman, Oklahoma, like, that's not the only markets you can tap into. Like, if you're a celebrity football player, like, there's all sorts of things.
That's true, but college football is still very regional, right? You're you're not going to pay attention very much to what some kid from, like, down in Texas, we're not going to pay very much attention to what some kid up in Nebraska is being sponsored by. We don't give a shit, right? You're not going to get a Dallas brand that's like, oh, we're going to go sponsor this kid from Nebraska, unless he's like a Heisman finalist. Like, then, you know, might be a different story. So you are limited to a degree to the businesses that are around you, because that's where the following is. So it does. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I'm just saying it does beg the question, and it is a thing, because you see it in pro sports as well. People want to go to big markets because there's more opportunities for advertisements. There's more opportunities for brand deals, for sponsorships, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but like, so what I saw was, I mean, I'm sure they gave him a good chunk of change in cash money as well, or at least like royalties for doing the commercial deal or whatever. But he was sitting in a black, what appeared to be an Aventador. So that car can be anywhere from like 450 to 700K.
It was one of the base model Aventadors, because it didn't have the. It wasn't
the little pellet.
It didn't have.
Doors.
Yeah.
So I mean, probably like a $500,000 car. So I mean, Bijan Robinson. I'll tag him. I'll add him. Should this reach you, I have a little bet I want to get going with you. You put up your Aventador. I will put up absolutely nothing. Your pride. You get to keep your pride. I give you my respect. If Eric Gray or whoever our starting running back at the time that we play Texas in Dallas has more yards rushing than you, I get your Lamborghini. But if you win the bet, you earn my respect.
I don't think he's gonna go for that one.
I'll kiss a poster of you. But yeah, dude. I mean, he's got money now. You know, the Aventador is just a little slight something for him. So you put up your car, I put up my pride.
Did they actually give him the Aventador, or are they like leasing him the Aventador? Like, he gets to drive it? Because that was Spencer Rattler's deal, right? They didn't actually give him the cars. He just got to drive them.
I believe the truck was his.
Was it? Okay.
I believe the truck was his. But
I mean, big difference from a $60,000 truck to a
put your money up.
$400,000.
Put your money up.
Italian.
If you really believe
car.
in yourself, you'll take this bet. Let me know on Twitter. Okay. Moving on, NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
We got a few updates. Grizzlies Warriors has turned out to be quite the series. Quite the series. Not really much to say there in terms of that both teams are playing exactly how you would think they're gonna play.
It looks like Ja kind of came off with a maybe an ankle sprain or some sort of injury.
It was a knee strain because Jordan Poole quite literally grabbed his knee and yanked it. It was a little bit of a dirty play. I mean, he was definitely like trying to make a play on the ball, but ended up grabbing his knee and like doing it. I don't know. It's getting kind of weird because we've had a back and forth with these two teams with the technicals.
I was just making sure it's still recording.
Yeah. We've had
technical difficulties,
some filming issues, so we always got to make sure that our camera's still recording. But no, so I mean, we had Draymond. So Draymond got a flagrant 2 in the first game because he deserved it. Like, bro, I forgot who. Oh, it was Brandon Clark. Yeah, he slapped him on the face, and then that in itself would be a flagrant because he was making a play on the ball, but he still like followed through and did the whole slap. And then after that, he grabs his jersey, and like fucking like threw him down. But then I guess he thought he didn't deserve a flagrant 2 because he like offered to help him up right after. It's like, dude, if I punch your mother in the face and then give her a hug, you know, maybe that's not a good comparison. I don't know. Help me out here. But then I mean, what was his name? Cody Jackson. Literally, game 3 had an even more egregious foul, but that ended up being a flagrant 2 too. So it's been a violent but fun series to watch. I could see this going to Game 7.
Very well could.
I don't know who won last night. I didn't.
I don't know either.
It was one of my buddy's birthdays. I got quite drunk.
And it was UFC fights.
There was UFC fights on, and
it'd be like that.
Not sure what happened.
I watched. I think last night I watched the first 2 periods of the Stars.
Oh yes, the Stars won.
Did
Stars
they?
won.
Okay,
yeah.
good. Yeah, they were. It was
So they're
tied.
up. They're up 2-1 on the
Yeah.
Calgary Flames.
That series is
Those
getting
Stars go.
chippy.
Yeah, they almost got into a fight yesterday. It was like
They got
almost
into
a whole
quite a
line
few.
brawl.
Yeah,
For those of you who don't know what a line brawl is, it's
Tilly.
where the whole team, they all just they pick their
Donnybrook?
dance partner.
It's a Donnybrook.
Yeah, they pick their dance partner and they just start going at it. See, that's why hockey's an entertaining sport to me. I hate sports that try to deter like violence. Like that's part of what makes it fun, right? Like some of the best moments in basketball are like where people have fought, like the Malice in the Palace. There's like documentaries about that, and it was just a big fight between players and fans. So NBA, NFL, stop trying to deter people from fighting. Let them duke it out. It makes the sport better.
Baseball, they let them fight. Kind of. It's not the same
Yeah.
as hockey. They just kind of. It's usually.
No, but
just-
hockey's cool because they respect the mano a mano
That's true.
battle. Like if you
Baseball
have
is
a
just a
problem with
bunch-
somebody,
both the bench is
no,
clear.
they do. Yeah, and it's like the pitcher throws down his glove, and here comes the batter. But then it's like the catcher's coming after him, and then here comes both benches, and then they just try to. It's like, bro, just let them fight, you know. But anyway, Joel Embiid comes back, makes an instant impact for Philly, saves him from being swept. I still think Philly's going to lose.
Yeah.
Miami's
the Heat are
just
good. Heat are really good.
a really, really solid team. I think the Bucks are going to finish the Celtics in 5, even though the Celtics got them one, because they had a really good shooting game, and like I don't think they're going to shoot like that the rest of the series. So I don't think they're going to be able to hold off the Bucks. Giannis is just
Yeah. He's good.
gold right now, absolute gold right now. I don't think he's the best player in the NBA still, but he's good. He's the most freakish. I mean, they call him the Greek Freak for a reason. He's definitely the most freakish player in the NBA.
I still stand
Not
by
the
that. I
best.
think he's the best at the current
And then
moment.
my Dallas Mavs, bro. Show a spark at home.
They needed it because the first 2 games against the Suns, I was like, shit, this isn't
worrisome.
gonna last very long.
It was very worried, but it was all defensive issues. But we went small ball after the first half.
Yeah.
Everyone was shooting incredibly well. Everybody was playing defense incredibly well.
Defense was the difference.
Yeah, we weren't
We
getting caught.
I think we forced like 9 turnovers.
Yeah,
for Chris Paul.
Chris Paul had more turnovers in the first half than he had in I think it was his last 25
Yeah,
games.
it was something ridiculous.
Weird.
We were being very disruptive, which is nice because really, when you look at the big mismatch that the Suns have, is we don't have a true big that can really play with Ayton.
We don't.
Unless Dwight Powell just is in perfect position constantly.
No, and in the first half, we didn't really do a good job of boxing him out and
No.
keeping him from the area where he scores, where he's really efficient. But we did in the second half. We'd get 2 guys on him, box him out.
What
Somebody
helped?
else would fly in and
What
get the
helped
rebound.
that last game though was Chris Paul and Devin Booker were in kind of slumps.
Besides Ayton, they're really not that big.
No,
They really don't outsize us unless they have Ayton on the floor. So I think we did a good job, and that was in spite of the best part of it was that was one of the worst officiated games I think I've ever
was horrible.
watched. It was so one-sided in favor of Phoenix. They had
Luka kept doing the.
look, yeah, somebody had to have been paying the refs, bro. There was one sequence. He got bumped 4 times going to the basket, still made it, didn't get the and one, and then Chris Paul comes down the court and does one of those little cheap rip-aways, and they give him that foul, and he shoots 3 free throws. And then Luka, literally maybe 2 or 3 plays later, does the same thing, and they don't give him the rip-away foul. It was just... It was some abysmal officiating. I think the penalty for officials that ref a game that bad should be the same as the penalty for Lincoln Riley cheating. I think they should start losing fingers. I'm just saying, that would be the ultimate deterrent to doing your job very, very shittily, is every time you fuck up, you lose a finger, or maybe a toe, or whichever one's more useful to you. Because then it's going to get to a point where If the ref fucks up too many times and he loses too many toes, he can't referee anymore because he can't walk. So then somebody else has to replace him, and hopefully they do a little bit better of a job.
That's fair. Jalen Brunson also had crazy, specifically first quarter, but all game he played extremely well.
He's about to get himself a bag. And I was watching some video about it was some guys basically saying people that they would take over Russell Westbrook, and there was a huge debate about Jalen Brunson or Russell Westbrook.
Oh, now
I don't even think it's a question.
Now I would take Brunson for sure.
It's not even a question.
Now, if you're talking about both of them, because Jalen Brunson, I feel like is starting to work towards his prime.
I think he's
Jalen Brunson
within a year or two of being
in his prime versus Westbrook in his prime. I'm probably taking Westbrook, but right now, yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's playing like it's almost like we have our own Chris Paul. It's kind of what it feels like on the other side of the ball.
I think he's more of a slasher than Chris Paul is. He's really good. He plays more aggressive than his size is. He does a really good job of getting to the rim, and he's a really aggressive defensive player.
Yeah. And then Luka, his assist game in the first half was artistry. I mean, you talk about a Sistine Chapel of passing. That was close.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Luka's biggest thing is he is a defensive liability out the ass.
He's kind of surly and awkward on defense. That's his only problem. He kind of knows where to be, but he's not very fast.
He's out of position a lot though, especially on pick and rolls.
Yeah. But I mean, everybody has a weakness.
Yeah.
Even one of the best players in the league. So the PLL, I'm very excited.
I'm assuming. Are you talking about the lacrosse league?
The Premier Lacrosse League.
Okay.
Is coming in June. So they have 2 seasons already, but they just signed a deal with ESPN. So basically, the way it's going to work is, and for those of you who don't know, well, none of them know. I don't know why I always say that. Why the fuck do I always say for those of you who don't know? If I'm going to say something, you probably don't already know it. I'm a big college lacrosse fan, but pro lacrosse is something that has yet to kind of develop into an actual market.
Yeah.
But we finally have a major league. But basically, the way it's going to work is the whole league is going to move from city to city, and then they all kind of play their regular season games in one spot. And so it'll be 4 teams will play in Dallas, and then there will be 4 teams playing in a 2-day span in fucking California or something.
So cut down on some travel costs probably.
Yeah. So
does Dallas have a team?
So the teams aren't city-based; they're region-based. So they kind of work just like soccer clubs, but they're not actually associated with a city. So it's just they have
most soccer clubs are associated with.
Yeah, but they're not. It's just there's the Cannons Lacrosse Club, and there's the Whip Snakes Lacrosse Club.
But they're not based out of anywhere.
No, they're not based out of anywhere. I mean, it is regional, and you can kind of tell which one's which. The Whip Snakes are actually kind of the Southwest. It looks like.
Okay.
But it's convenient because the Whip Snakes have won the first 2 championships. So it's I've never had an opportunity to be a bandwagon fan in my life, and I'm gonna seize the opportunity while I can because this is the perfect thing to jump on. I'm now a Whip Snakes guy.
With the Whip Snakes.
Yeah, they're playing in shit. I think Frisco. They're gonna be playing in Frisco in July. So might have to get out there, support my Whip Snakes. We're going for 3. We're going for the 3-peat. But anyway, yeah, lacrosse. It's a really sick sport. I recommend that everybody check it out and try to catch a few games. Yesterday, UFC 274. It was a shit card. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a really bad card. Mostly just because of the results. They were really disappointing. Rose Namajunas lost.
Yeah.
And she's one of my favorite female fighters. I didn't really care who won the Michael Chandler fight with Tony Ferguson. Could you please not sneeze while I'm talking? God.
Bro, I got allergies.
Before I was so rudely interrupted. But here's the thing, though. this is what I really wanted to talk about. The lightweight title has now been vacated because the champion, the incumbent champion, Charles Oliveira, missed weight by 0.3 pounds. So
Yep.
even in winning yesterday, he couldn't retain his belt. He's now no longer the lightweight
He's
champion.
the number one contender.
He's the number one contender and will have to fight again someone else to win his belt back
Yep.
over 0.3 pounds.
They have a very strict rule when it comes to championship fights. If it wasn't a championship fight, then I think it's like a pound. They give you a pound.
What the fuck is this guy doing? There's somebody jacking around by our cars.
Oh. They give you a pound, but for championship fights, you have to hit. And I know there was some controversy as to whether it was the scale, because he
A lot of people saw the scale still moving when they actually called the weight. So they wanted them to bring out a digital scale, but they don't do that.
Yeah.
The real problem to me is it's within half a pound tolerance, so right? So it's 155. So you can be 155 and a half, or you can be 154 and a half. So it's basically, I guess, a full pound of I don't know. You're the statistics guy. What's that called? You're
standard deviation.
standard deviation, right? So he basically came in like 0.3 pounds over that half pound that he's allowed overweight, and they stripped him of his title because of that. They only give you an hour to cut the weight if you come in overweight, so he wasn't able to do it. I personally think the rules on these weight cuts should be a little less stringent. Cutting weight's a really, really difficult thing. It's like if you've ever watched someone cut weight for like an MMA fight or a wrestling match, it's like grueling. Like they literally just dehydrate themselves completely. They don't eat. They have no food in their stomach. So you literally just like basically kill yourself for like 3 straight days and you lose like 10 pounds of water. But then they like bulk back up right before their fight. So they end up coming into the fight like 15 pounds over what the championship
It's kind of
weight
an
is.
archaic system, honestly.
I think it should just be like a range, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how heavyweight is, which is what pisses me off. There's literally a division in the UFC where it's just like you have to be between 230 and 265. And you can't be higher, you can't be lower. If you're over, it means you're too fat to be a UFC fighter. If you're under, you're too small to be a heavyweight. So I think that's how they should all be. Not a 30-pound window maybe, but maybe like
15
within
pounds.
10 or 15
Yeah.
pounds, because it's like at that point it's still fair, and that's how it usually is anyway. Like usually you look at a middleweight fight, you probably got a guy that's coming in at like 200 pounds fighting a guy that's maybe like 186, 190 or something like that. So there's always going to be a size difference.
It would make the sport healthier too. Like you wouldn't have, because I know for like younger guys that's a real dangerous thing to do, but they do it for wrestling as well.
Bro, some of these
for
dudes,
boxing.
like if you're like TJ Dillashaw when he fought at 125, Connor when he fought at 145, bro, they come in, their cheeks are all sunken and they just look terrible. But yeah, dude, it's rough. But I like he's good. I'm confident he's gonna win it back, because I don't think they have anybody for him right now.
He called out McGregor. Him
and Michael Chandler both called out McGregor. They want the money fight. I mean, Connor's not in his prime anymore. I'll be honest with you. I'm the biggest Conor McGregor fan, but
he got comfortable. He
he's
got
not in
that
his
money.
prime.
He got that money. I think
he's got everything he's ever.
He started training a little less hard.
The McGregors are.
He's eating those big steaks. He's out on his yacht drinking his whiskey.
Yeah, but he's making.
Yeah, he does. I mean, it's hard to want to train
12-fold what he would ever make off UFC.
It's
fighting.
hard to want to train as hard as you need to be at the top level of anything when you already got the bag. Once you've got the bag, it's like, I mean, yeah, I can go do that, but like, he doesn't need to prove anything. He was already the champ. He already is going to go down as probably one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time.
But the sad thing is, it's kind of like you get fighters in their prime, and it's kind of sad to see them start fighting as they get out of their prime, because it's like they start getting beat by guys that you kind of know they would have whooped their ass if they had fought prime Conor. Like, dude, Dustin Poirier, chance he's fighting. No chance he's beating Conor when Conor was fighting Aldo. Like, that was a different breed.
Yeah.
Like, that prime Conor is one of the greatest fighters of all time on the planet. No doubt about that. But yeah, he's taken care of. The McGregors are good for
Ever.
for as long as life goes on. But yeah, kind of a shit card, disappointing. And Canelo lost. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see
Yeah,
it.
Canelo lost, which was interesting. It's just people get to a point where they win so much, it's almost like
Yeah.
it's like a huge surprise when they lose. It's like a I don't even know. I was trying to think of a analogy, but coming up blank. Anyway, our last topic is a rather interesting one. So, 50 kilos, roughly $1 million a kilo of Colombian coke. So $50 million worth of Colombian cocaine was found in an espresso factory. For those of you who don't,
I have an espresso
Yeah.
machine. I always wondered why their coffee was so good, and now I know.
it's like you wonder if they like infused it some like extra caffeine or something.
Yeah.
Little did you know it was just a little bit
Little
of
Coke.
some of the slopes in there.
That's probably why the pods are so fucking expensive.
Yeah, but this is what's funny. is,
$2 for a pod.
You go. So I mean, obviously, like there's like Colombia is a huge producer of
Coffee.
and
cocaine. Yeah.
right? Two of their major exports.
Coincidentally.
But like, what's funny is you got to wonder if this was like one of those like cartoonish like
mix-ups.
mishaps where it's like they open it and they're like, no, you don't understand. This is supposed to be coffee, and then it like flips over to like a drug deal on like the freaking southern
like
border.
the Amazon,
Yeah.
they all have their machine guns.
They bust it open.
They
It's just
check this-
It's just a bunch of
coffee
espresso
beans.
pods fall out. But
They all die, and then
yeah,
they're like, no, I swear.
but like, it's either that, which I don't think it is, or
They were using it as
it's a smuggling business.
Yeah.
And this was some kind of major error made, because you would think that they wouldn't just have actual crates full of like literally like perfectly packaged
things of cocaine.
kilos of cocaine. But you'd think they would like hide it amongst like the coffee bag, or at least that's what I would do. Not that I do that. I don't smuggle cocaine.
Maybe Nespresso smuggles cocaine, and they got caught, so they had to make it seem like, oh god, this is from one of our providers. Maybe Nespresso is just a cover for like a big European drug smuggling operation.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
but
okay,
like, why would they be stupid enough to literally just have a crate of like uncovered, just like wide out in the open cocaine? Like, so, like if somebody decided to do an audit, like some guy with his clipboard could have just fucking walked in there and just like peeked inside and been like, oh, that's 50 kilograms of cocaine.
Well, here's my thing. Why didn't you just it's Nespresso, it's owned by Nestle. If you're smuggling drugs, cocaine looks a decent amount like sugar. So like just put it in a big bin, label it sugar. Is anybody gonna be like, oh,
Yeah.
that's
they didn't
not
even take
sugar?
that precaution. So that's the funny thing is like movie writers are smarter than actual drug smugglers, because like at least in the movies, like the criminals would like take the bags of cocaine and put them inside of the coffee ground bags and then like and then just pull them out.
Or like no, I mean
But, like-
all you gotta do is just take the cocaine out of that bag.
But the picture's
and then
hilarious.
put it in a bag that says sugar, and just like label it just real big with like a red stamp, like sugar, and then
Yeah.
people will be like, "Oh, that makes sense." It's
Or just
coffee.
label it cocaine, so that way everybody thinks it's like a joke, and then nobody's gonna be like, oh, there's actually cocaine inside of there. But yeah, no, it's hilarious because it's like somebody busted it open with a crowbar, and there it is. It's just sitting there in perfect rows, like just completely.
Oh no!
undisguised.
How did that get there?
Yeah, you know that foreman was sitting there like, son of a bitch, Jesus, dude.
I'm about to lose so much money.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hope that never happens to me. I hope I'm never at work one day, and like the FBI just comes in, and they start like popping stuff open, and just cocaine's falling out all over the place.
What?
But you actually don't have anything to do with it. That's crazy. So our last thing, fan question of the week. I thought of this about 15 minutes ago.
A lot of thought was put into this episode.
Who is someone that you hate? But you really don't have a reason. You don't have a reason behind why you hate them.
Yeah. Charlie Puth. I fucking hate that
The
guy.
music artist.
Yeah, I just hate his face. I don't like that he's always doing the... I mean, I know you say hate for no reason, and then now I'm giving you reasons why I hate him. But I don't like his face. I don't like his voice. He's got stupid curly ass hair.
Well, for no
And-
good reason. Like you don't have a
And
good reason.
he always
to hate
does, every time you see him, he's always like, He's always like, here's like a alarm beep or like someone shit their pants. He's like, oh, that's D Sharp.
Oh yeah, I did see that. What was that on?
He does that all the time. That's all he does. Is he's just like, he's got perfect pitch.
No. What talk show was that on that he did that?
He does it on all of them, every single one.
Because I think I saw him do that on Kimmel actually, which brings me to mind. I fucking hate Jimmy Kimmel. Can't stand Jimmy Kimmel.
That's fair.
Jimmy Fallon. It seems like one of the most down to earth, like he genuinely loves talking to his guests type guy. But when I watch Jimmy Fallon, he just like he seems
Wait,
like
wait. You just said you love Jimmy Fallon, and then you said
okay, Jimmy Kimmel. When I watch Jimmy Kimmel, he just like he never seems like he's actually that interested in his guest, and he seems like he's in it for the money. He seems like a.
Of course, he's in it for the money.
Well, yeah, I mean, so is everybody. But like, there's most of them at least enjoy their job.
I don't like either of them. I don't like Kimmel or Fallon.
I don't think Fallon's funny. I don't think either of them are funny.
I think Fallon's more fake than Kimmel because he's always.
He's always been like that. He's been like that since he was on SNL.
I know, but I
That's
think
just his
I think
personality.
that's what he. I think it was an act on SNL too. The whole everything's so okay. So we're gonna all right. So you're gonna hold it and
Yeah, but Jason Sudeikis was the same way, and Jason Sudeikis is hilarious.
yeah, but I like Jason Sudeikis.
He's got that goofy,
He's just like
Jason Sudeikis smile. But no, dude, I just can't stand.
she wants us to fuck her.
That's a good quote. But no, dude, I can't stand Kimmel because he's just a douchebag.
That's fair.
The only thing I like about Kimmel is that little guy he's got, Guillermo, I think his name is, that follows LeBron James around. And the only reason I like him is because he pisses LeBron James off, and I can't stand LeBron James.
Oh yeah,
So,
I don't like LeBron James either.
Yeah, but I feel like my reasons for not liking LeBron are good reasons. I don't really think the reason I don't like Jimmy Kimmel is a good reason.
I mean, I feel like the reason I don't like Charlie Puth is reasonable.
Yeah. Of course we would though, because we have a little bit of a bias, obviously. Other than that, man, I'm pretty good. You pretty good?
I'm chilling. It was a week. How was your week? You don't just ever talk.
No, I meant like I'm pretty good as in like I've got things covered. Everything's okay in terms of the episode.
Oh, I just thought. Well, I mean, we never talk. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we talk, but like we
But not in like the
yeah, we don't tell each other stuff, man. You know what I mean? Like when we do this, we talk about our sports, but like, how is Jackson? How's Jackson doing?
Well, I don't want to tell you in front of the guests. But yeah, so we're gonna cut, guys. That's gonna be the end of episode 14 because we gotta go talk about our feelings. Yeah, we'll see y'all next week.
Until next time, Boomer.
Boomer sooner.
Yeah.